happened. And then what happened? At Raiders happened. And they're clean games with high touchdowns. He's now 15-1, 15 touchdowns to 1 interception over his last 5 games. And you can just see him recreating Patriots South in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And you see the numbers that he's putting up. They lead the league in point differential. That's outrageously good, because I remind you, they had no preseason games. They had to do mostly virtual OTAs. He had a brand new offense with a brand new coaching staff and brand new receivers who he barely knew. And look at him now. And they've been all beat to hell in their receiving core, like a lot of teams have, but he didn't have Chris Godwin for 3 games, and Mike Evans still doesn't look right. And Pro Football Focus concludes that he should be, Tom Brady, the MVP frontrunner. You threw those numbers at me, I'll throw these back at you. Do you realize that Tom Brady so far, in what they call big-time throws, he has 24 of those, including, I think, 3 more on Sunday at Raiders, to bring him to 24. That's first in the NFL. God, that's good. How about turnover-worthy plays by Tom Brady? He has only 3 all year, which is tied for first in the NFL. They rate him in just their overall quarterback rating 3rd best in the league right now. Is that good?
That's good.
And
but he's rated 3rd, though.
Their conclusion is there's no reason he shouldn't be considered a front runner for the 2020 NFL MVP.
Well, Skip,
wow.
We mentioned that yesterday. I believe he's in there. Russ opened the door and let a lot of other people, because Russ had the door closed. But he opened the door, and he allowed Brady to walk in. He allowed Rodgers to walk in. Mahomes has walked back in. I think, Ben was at the door knocking, and then he realized no one was home, because those 3 interceptions really hurt. But, yes, he's going to be in the end, and he was always going to be in the end because of Tampa's record, considering what they were last year, the previous year, and what they were this year. Just like Peyton Manning, when he got there, although they won the division, they were 8-8. Skip, 8-8 is one thing winning division. You go 8-8 to 13-3, what Peyton did his first year, obviously. But the things, if you go back and look at it, you look at the teams that have won multiple MVPs in a short period of time. You look at the Steelers, they won 4 Super Bowls in 6 years. What did they have? Lights out, outstanding defense. You look at your Cowboys. Although the defense don't get credit, Skip, because they get big names on offense, the Irvins, the Smith, the Aikmans, you know their defenses were unbelievable.
Starting with Charles Haley. Yep.
You look at the 49ers, Skip. The 49ers defense don't get any credit. Skip, they were unbelievable in the 80s.
Totally agree.
So, in what Tom had in New England, although, Skip, they're not any big names. They didn't have an Aaron Donald or LT, or they didn't have anything like that. He had a lot of pieces that he could plug, and they played extremely well together.
Okay. So, the point is, what this man is doing at 43 is so extraordinary, because he's doing it so quickly. And here comes Antonio Brown. We're going to talk about him in just a few minutes. And it's now to the point that Mike Sando concludes in the piece that you brought up. Last line is, the Patriots could be just like a lot of other teams, scrapping it out from week to week, not quite sure what the future holds, but increasingly sure it won't come close to approximating the past.
No.
That's where we are right now with New England. And you can say it's too early to write them completely off, but you're seeing them get exposed as sort of just another team with just another pretty good coach who's trying from week to week to figure it out. And this piece points out that with Cam, he got off to a sensational start, and then the league said, as you know this league will do, timeout. Let's just load up that box, because we still don't believe he can beat us with his arm consistently. Let's take the run completely away from him and from his team.
Right.
And then let's see what happens.
Because you don't have anybody that can win one-on-one consistently.
Okay. And now what's happening with Cam, do you realize over his last 10 games, he's 4 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. That dates back to, obviously, the Carolina when he was all beat to hell. But the point is, people are saying you can't beat us with your arm consistently. He almost beat Seattle with his arm.
Correct.
But can you do it every game? Well, obviously, the last couple, it could be a COVID reason. I give you some pass for that one. But in the end, I just think the script has been flipped, because now a lot of these anonymous quotes in the Sando piece are saying, hey, it actually comes down to Tom Brady could erase all those shortcomings and all those in-game problems. And there's no doubt that he could.
There's no question that a great quarterback is the greatest deodorant for anything that transpires on the team. He can cover up lack of talent on the offense. He can make amends and make atonement for bad defenses. There's no question about that. That's always been the case. And Tom Brady might be the greatest deodorant. But, Skip, as you mentioned, there's a culture. If you look at the Miami Heat, they don't have a D-Wade. They don't have a LeBron James, but they have a culture that's been established, okay? LeBron James took a lot of that culture that he learned and brought it other places. You look at when he went back to Cleveland, you look at what he's done in L.A. That's a culture thing. So what Tom Brady did is that he took what he learned in those 20 years in New England, and he brought that because he's the greatest guy to be able. I'm sure there are other guys, Skip, that played in that culture, that tried to go places, but they don't have that.
I agree.
So when you have that and you can go somewhere, he can set up shop anywhere and it'll work.
And you say, what's he have now? Top 5 defense, maybe a top 1 defense?
I think they're eighth in points and like 5th in yards.
Okay,
Like that.
okay, but I had to sell you when Tom Brady shocked the NFL world by picking the Succaneers. I had to sell you on Todd Bowles' defense because I said, Shannon, look at what happened the last 4 or 5 games of last year when they went 7 and 9. They were a turnover machine because Jameis was a turnover machine. Yes. And yet I said that defense has front 7 talent.
Yes, yes.
And Todd Bowles is, for me, top 3 coordinator, defensive coordinator. He's not the greatest head coach, hasn't proven to be. Right. But when he's calling defense,
he keep calling defense like that, he gonna get another chance to be a head coach.
Well, you could argue, but you could also argue this is his calling. This is what he does greatest. And all of a sudden, because Brady's there, everybody on that field is saying, we got the GOAT. We got this. And the defense is playing at a higher level, and obviously the offense is. And all I know is that through 7 games last year, they had 17 turnovers. Now they have only 7. They are +5 in turnovers now. They were -5 a year ago at this point.
That's the huge difference.
That's it.
And the defense is not playing as much, so they're fresher, and they're getting after the quarterback. And when it's all said and done, Skip, look, let's not minimize Tom. Give Tom his credit. Tom has played well. But I do believe the defense giving him, because there are a lot of times, Skip, they're 3 and out. They're getting you up off the field. And so Tom is in a rhythm. It allows Tom to stay in a rhythm. And the one thing that you try to do when you're playing a guy like Tom, or you're playing a Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers, you want to keep their butt on the sideline as much as possible, Skip. You don't want to get, they score a touchdown. Okay, you come on the field and you go 3 and out, or you go 5 and out. And that guy's right back on the field? Well, you just let him get a rhythm. You just let him complete 8 passes and got right down the field. And that's what the mistake that the Raiders made. They let him get a rhythm, and guess what? He was right back on the field again, and boom, he blew the game wide open.
And he's saying to Belichick, hey, look what I can do when I have a little bit of talent around me, which I didn't have.
He might be doing a little kid. He might be got his tongue out at Coach Belichick behind.
A little bit. Yeah. Final quote from the Sando piece, again, anonymous from an evaluator. An NFL executive says, a lot of us were still thinking, oh, Bill's a genius and he's on top of everything. He's going to out-strategize you and outwork you and no days off. And I think that's just not how it works. No. Starts with the quarterback, especially if he's the greatest leader ever, and you lose that, you've lost just about everything.
Well, Skip, the thing is that you always felt if you play defense, if we can hold them to, especially now, if you could hold a team to, say, 20 points, and you had Tom, you felt that, we're going to get 27, we're going to get 30, we're going to win. Now, when you have those pieces on defense, you got to hold somebody to 14. The likelihood of you holding somebody to 14 week in and week out, they don't allow you to play defense like that, Skip, because you can't get that physical anymore. Now, unless you got some just bad quarterbacks, and there are a few of those, but when you're dealing with a guy like he and Rodgers and Mahomes, Skip, what's the likelihood you think you're going to hold those teams to 17 and win games?
So I have now changed my percentage. I say Tom was worth 80%, and Bill, I'll give 20%.
You know what?
80-20.
First of all, and guess what? By the end of the show, it's going to be 90-10 for you. And by the end of the year, it might be 95-5 to you.
Shannon, are your numbers also shifting a little bit?
Nope.
Just a tad?
I just believe in Coach Belichick.
I can hear a little difference.
But the days, Skip, the days of him just taking popsicle sticks and building the Taj Mahal, Those days are over. He gonna need some bricks. He
Fair
gonna need a good solid foundation. He gonna need some better players in order to get back to where he wants to be.
Because
Well-
he used to have the Star of India, as in diamond.
Good
he
thing
did.
Yep.
for Skip here. Tom Brady is living large, but unfortunately his Cowboys are barely
Yeah.
holding on. We'll discuss an
Oh, that same energy.
possibility for Dallas next.